Hello everyone, welcome to Among the Embers, where we are now... I don't actually remember how far we are in at this point. We've been out for a while. As usual, we would like to throw our thanks to Modifius for creating this wonderful gaming system, Star Trek Online for allowing us to use some of their assets, and Fury of the Seraph on DeviantArt for providing the template for the dedication plaque of USS Nightingale. We are now in part 3 of With Friends Like These, where things are not going to plan, to put it mildly. Captain, would you like to bring everyone up to date?
Sure. So last week, the captain and Commander Bazan met with Praetor Nadaris, and while personally the initial reaction from Nadaris was not, it was surprisingly warm, I'll say. I felt.
He didn't shoot you on sight.
Right. Right as the discussion was concluding, a assassination attempt was started by some other faction, which the captain and our favorite Gorn managed to drive off. With minimal damage to persons in the station. Then after that, throughout the investigation, it was discovered that the assassins were reusing what looked to be Federation phasers. And whoever was in charge of the assassination attempt definitely didn't want people witnesses as they beamed all the bodies out into space.
The assailants' bodies to be...
Right.
Indeed, fairly brutal form of execution. And that's not the only thing going on. We still have the knowledge that someone at the peace conference has a failure on them. And there's also the fact that the faction that the entire peace conference is supposedly there to deal with, the mercenary / pirate group, the Blackthorn League, has apparently been allowed to attend. Which is interesting, because it means that a majority, that is 3 out of the 4 Romulan delegates here, agreed to it, given the fact that the Federation abstained to vote on that matter. So that's something to bear in mind. You do have the support of 3 of the delegates to install Federation security measures to try and prevent further nonsense from happening. And thus we re-enter the scene with all of that to deal with. One last Romulan faction to go and see. And then we can get started with the conference itself.
Joy. So much joy.
You're a diplomat. This should be your element.
This is, unless the dice say differently.
Yeah. It's fair. Actually, it's mostly Vintot who's had trouble with the dice, but you've had your share of bad luck as well. So, let's see. Oh yes, the other thing that you discovered was that the serial numbers on the Federation phaser rifles, which you took from the assassins, were apparent forgeries. because you plug them into the Federation database and they don't make sense. So that's fun. So, would you like to go and see the last representative, or do you have other things to deal with?
Sure, and that one would be
This would be
the
Praetor. This would be the Empire.
Rhetorian. Oh,
Of
the
Rhetor, yes.
Yeah.
Under Praetor Valorian, which theoretically is sympathetic to the Federation.
I love how you said that. It makes me have pause for doubt.
He's Romulan. You should always pause for doubt. Commander Basan, are you just going to accompany the captain, or would you like to do other things? You have a few tasks ahead of you.
I'm not entirely sure I trust the the other dude. That being said, yeah, I think I'll stick with the captain for now.
Alrighty. Well, your Romulan escort. Your Romulan escort continues to move you around the outer ring. And finally, you come to the last of the 4 delegations. Now, the Rhetorian symbol, carefully emblazoned, is once again a variation on the old Romulan eagle. But this one has its wings spread. In a way, it's actually the closest to the original design. There's a lot of stuff about how the wings look. Anyway, once again, there's the usual song and dance. Your escorts hit the buzzer to request access, and then you are ushered inside. This is probably the most familiar to you, Captain. This very much reminds you of the few diplomatic conferences that you've been to with Romulans in the past. This is the Romulan friendly face, the one that's trying to play ball. It's minimum of weaponry. The clothing is much more impressive than military. And there's a definite feeling that this is a congregation of civilians more than military officers. Which would make sense. Valorian has the smallest amount of support from the old Navy and all that sort of thing. And if it came to a fight between Rhetor and either of the other two, it wouldn't go well. But the flip side is he's carried favor with a number of foreign entities, and there are rumors that he might be on good terms with Karis as well. But information is a tool, and propaganda is a weapon, especially in the Romulan Star Empire. Now, the representative that you see before you, you very quickly recognize. You haven't spoken with him personally, but you've seen some of the talks and all this sort of thing. Yeah, this is Valorian himself, which means that at least 2 of the 3 praetors are here, and the Ekanarian representative didn't identify him, so it might be all 3, which means that all 4 leaders of the Romulan factions would be here.
This is... Oh, I'm so unsettled by this.
Well, they all came.
Yep.
Oh dear.
I mean, some serious shit is going down.
It also makes a really juicy assassination target, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Gee, I wonder why someone got a Thaleron weapon.
Yep. Taking out any one of the praetors would quite likely result in their empire just self-destructing. And
I imagine if they went into civil war, when Nightingale be kind of told to pull out.
very likely.
Most definitely. Starfleet does not make a habit of getting involved in a civil war.
Oh, yep. They would make protests and do their best to ensure that innocent civilians and all this sort of thing were kept out of the firing line, but yeah, if Valorian in particular went away, then it's quite likely that the entire relief effort would just be cancelled on the spot.
Mm.
Now imagine what would happen if all of them were dead.
Oh boy. I think that'd be worse than the Hovis incident.
We need to find that Thaleron device.
Well, I would certainly set the clock back. Anyway, Valorian inclines his head politely to you, Captain. Captain Jazonan, I believe.
Yes.
They're coming for me.
Praetor... oh, shit. Praetor Valorian. It is an honor.
Indeed. I just wish it was under less fraught circumstances. I understand that you've already seen the various other factions.
That I have.
How do they strike you?
Out of character. About what they describe on the tin.
I would say, each in their own way, they are quintessentially Romulan.
That's a very diplomatic statement, if I may say so. I'm aware that the Romulan people have always had a rather tenuous relationship with the Federation. I have hoped in my own small way to attempt to remedy that, since we really can no longer afford the old conflicts. In a sense, that's a repeat of the Praxis incident, but at least the Klingons didn't lose their home world.
The Hobus incident is quite possibly the greatest atrocity in probably, I would say, at least the last century, if not more.
I would agree. It doesn't help that we're still not entirely sure how it happened. But as sobering as such talks are, for the moment we have other matters to consider. What is your line at this conference? I'm aware that officially you are here as intermediaries, but everyone has an agenda of some kind. I'm fairly sure I know what the Federation one is, but I would like to hear it from you.
While my own personal agenda is to actually see the Romulan people at least get back onto the path of unification. It would not be remiss if those that were in charge were a little bit more friendly towards Federation interests in the future.
I also understand that you were entangled in a rather unfortunate incident with my Abraxan counterpart.
It was, and I do hope that I made the correct decisions based off the information I had at the time.
This is about the assassination attempt, not the torpedo thing.
Oh, yeah.
The torpedo thing was with the Atanarians anyway.
All right, reverse that, scratch it, play it back. Yes, it could have been a very unfortunate event, was it not for my Chief of Security's presence here,
I'm sure.
as she points to Bazan.
I, for one, would be highly reluctant to engage in any kind of violence if I knew that your officer here was on the other side.
And that is one thing that I wish to speak with you about. We have already, as our talks with the other leaders and representatives has continued, we realized that there are unique security concerns to a conference like this that my own security forces are uniquely equipped to handle. And as such, we were requesting that we be allowed to provide security for the conference, continuing in our role as a neutral party.
The others have agreed to this?
Yes, they have, because I did get all three, right?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
They did agree begrudgingly so.
Shush. They don't need to know that.
And you're not there.
Or am I?
Interesting. Well, I will, of course, agree to such a thing. I see no particular reason to. It seems like a good idea to me. And if it will not rock the boat with the others, then hopefully it will prevent further problems.
Especially with our newest attendees.
Ah, yes. Our piratical friends.
They're, from what I can only gather, being allowed onto the station into the conference has worried me a little.
I can see why. And the question is, who allowed them to have access? Would have required a majority vote. And I would assume that you either voted against or abstained.
The Federation has did abstain in the decision. I felt that it was not necessarily our place to choose who attended a Romulan conference.
Oh, I suppose we will just have to see what these newcomers have to say. Who knows? Perhaps they might even prove to be beneficial in the long run. Sometimes blessings come in strange packages. Not that I'm particularly holding my breath, but a little optimism never hurt.
Hope and optimism are wonderful things to have, as long as they are tempered with realism.
That is a fine perspective. Well, I believe that the conference is due to start shortly, so unless there is anything else, I will see you there.
Of course, Praetor. I appreciate the conversation and your willingness to let the Federation handle security matters.
He inclines his head again.
And we'll take that as a dismissal.
Oh, yep. So Naz, you have a short time to get your security arrangements in place.
Oh boy. Captain, with your permission, I would like to begin setting up.
Yes. We definitely get started on that as soon as possible.
Aye, Captain. She points to the other two security guards and basically tells them, you two, stick with the captain. And then she's going to go up and get to the conference chamber itself and start beaming over some technical personnel.
One of the things, you need to make sure that there isn't a sneaky failure on device.
And I might have reason to believe there's one on the station, or at least nearby.
Oh, yep.
There's definitely one nearby.
So what do you want me to roll to secure the conference chamber itself, at least at first?
Take a quick look. Do-do-do. All right, that is going to be. All right, sorry. What exactly is it that you want to do?
Nas wants to secure the conference room, sweep it clear, and identify any potential routes for assassination.
Let's go with reason. Let's go with reason security, I think.
Okay. What is our current momentum total?
According to my chart, it will be 4 at this point because you dropped them for a new scene.
Right.
So yes, reason security. Let's go with a difficulty of 2.
I would like to spend momentum.
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Do it.
I don't think any of my current focuses apply to security. I should change that. Okay, I think that's everything. Any for having XML on the ground? Or is it just a raw roll?
I will allow you to make a roll to get an advantage for that if you like. Case, I'll be required non-control check.
Any focuses applicable? Team dynamics, perhaps?
Yep. This will be difficulty of. This is difficulty 0. It just costs you 2 momentum to get the advantage.
Okie dokie. Let's see how we do. Okay, so I have to spend an extra momentum.
Oh, yep. That brings you down to 3, but that gets you an advantage for securing the conference room, which brings it down to a difficulty of 1.
Cool. I would like to spend that momentum as well, so we're down to 2.
And I will.
Ooh.
Oops.
Well, that's 3 momentum you got back.
Sorry for cutting you off there. You started saying right as I was clicking the button.
It's fine. I was gonna say that I'd allow you your team dynamics focus again, but doesn't look like you needed it.
Yeah, I guess not.
Let's stick with it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got any more crits anyway. But nice work. All right, so you get your security teams in, and they go over the room with a fine-tooth comb.
As is proper and according to plan.
Along with moving out, securing the areas around it, all that sort of thing. You make sure you do a thorough job.
Will you be needing the use of a science officer for detecting any Thaleron weapons on the station, or do you want me to stay on the ship?
That's your call, Naz.
My security teams can identify stuff close up, but having a sensor outside of the station and something a good deal more powerful than a tricorder would probably be helpful, actually.
All right.
So yeah, if you wouldn't mind scanning for Thalaron weaponry, that would be excellent.
Well, fortunately, the Nightingale sensors are now back up again after
Blowing out the deflector dish.
Oh, yep. So you can, in fact, do a sweep of the station to hopefully try and find something.
All right. I take it's a reason science roll.
That'll be a reason science roll, and from the Nightingale, that will be science sensors.
Alrighty, I am going to spend a momentum to roll 3 dice.
Alrighty. Let's see, what's the difficulty on this? Hold on a moment. Okay.
I assume my
Someone.
quantum physics focus would apply to this, right?
Yeah, I will allow it.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go with a difficulty of 3.
Oh boy. Oh, good thing I spent that momentum. Alrighty.
Nightingale is ready to roll.
Let's
All right.
see. Pharrell, is there anything? Oh, and you also have technical expertise, which will allow you to re-roll a dice. So that'll help. Alrighty, go for it.
Alrighty. Let's see what we get. Oh!
Okay.
Jeez.
Oh boy.
Oh crap! I thought the
And of course-
deflector dish was repaired.
Well, you can re-roll one of those zeros.
Oh, hang on. That was I accidentally hit that button.
That's fine. I'll just take it as re-rolling the first dice. So that brings you up to 5 successes
Okay.
and a complication.
Good lord.
Um,
The
so
Starship character sheet still seems to be borked.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. So that's 5 successes, difficulty of 3, which brings you up to 6 momentum.
There's that.
And something I did actually just read, because I've been trying to read up about threat, is you can in fact, I've been converting complications into threat. That's actually a power which you have as well. If you roll a complication, you can just say, I want the threat rather than the complication.
Alrighty, I think I'll definitely do that here.
Alrighty. Brings me back up to 10. Alrighty. So you do a really fine-tooth scan of the station. Like it was kind of dubious doing this before, but now you're officially in charge of security matters, then you can probably get away with it without anyone getting unreasonably pissy about it.
Yeah.
Now, you go over the station very carefully. You already know that it's relatively difficult to actually pick up this Thalaron residue, but you picked up a few tricks from doing your big area scan earlier, and excuse me, you finally narrow it down. Yes, there is a Thalaron device on board. Oh, I will require momentum for further questions.
Alrighty, I will spend one to localize it on the station.
Okie dokie. This is, in fact, in the conference room.
Oh boy.
It's just that for some reason, all of the hand scanning missed it. In fact, you'd probably have missed it if it weren't for the fact that you were playing around with a quantum resonance scan, which is looking into spectral bands outside of the usual, which the tricorder is designed to pick up.
Alrighty.
Would you like to know how big it is?
Yes, I would. One more momentum.
All right. This is relatively small. On this energy signature, you would estimate that it's designed to literally just take out that room.
Basically like what Senator Talora had in Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Nightingale to Commander Bazan.
This is Basan.
I done a sweep of the station since our friends showed up, and I've discovered something alarming. There is a Thalaron device in the conference room.
We've already swept that room. Are you sure?
Positive, sir. Tricorders would not have picked this up. This device was well hidden. I had to use a quantum resonance scan to detect it. It appears to be a small device designed to take out only the occupants of the room.
It would need to be much bigger. Can you identify its exact location, or are we going to have to remodulate our tricorders?
You'll need to remodulate them.
You have to remodulate your tricorders, sir. The only thing I can tell you is that it's in the conference room.
Very well. Thank you, Commander. I will see that this weapon is identified.
Good luck. Nightingale out.
Nas is going to... I'll go for it.
Indeed. As humans would say, I'd give real money to find out who it is.
So, Naz, you're going to do that whole reconfiguring thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, she's going to pull a couple of her security folks and have them two and her do the remodulation and then sweep the room again.
Alrighty. Science This is not your strong point.
Science
would
is
you like to?
not my strong point.
I'm guessing you'd like your underlings to do the modifications.
Or you could have the
Yeah.
captain come around.
That too.
There's a thought. Yeah, Nas will put a call to the captain. Oh, Nas isn't in the room right now. And Nas is not letting the captain anywhere near that room.
That's probably wise. Probably wouldn't be set off just to take out one Federation captain, but it wouldn't look good on your resume.
No, it would not. The conference room is also currently closed. We're not letting anyone in just yet.
All right. Have you been sharing your findings with the Romulan security officers, or are they?
No.
All right. Needless to say, they're getting a little pissy about this. Like, okay, the bigwigs might have agreed to let you take over things, but this is still our station, and
Just the
Where-
conference room. You can go anywhere else you like, but the conference room, we need to secure it. We will be done shortly.
you were given a long-suffering size for this, but they don't push it further.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can worry about that later. But yes, Nas is going to ask the captain to meet her. So like a lobby or like I guess you would call it a cafe or something near the conference room or bar or something.
It probably is.
Yep, there is in fact a little reception area.
Yeah, just something nearby, but not inside the conference room itself yet.
I make my way down there. You needed something, Commander?
Yes, Captain. I requested a general sweep of the station from the Nightingale. There is a Thaleron device inside the conference chamber, hidden from our normal tricorder scans. I wish to take a team in to with remodulated devices to pinpoint its location so that it can be safely disarmed. She fidgets a little in place. I am not very good at fiddling with tricorders.
Well, let me have a look and see what I may.
Thank you.
Alrighty. That will be a... Um... Do. Let's go with a control check.
Control
Okay.
science.
And we'll go with a difficulty of 2.
Yeah, I'm good if you want to spend the momentum.
Yeah, I figure I'll do
Actually,
that.
let's go daring science. I think that probably fits better.
Works for me anyway.
Would computers apply since I'm modulating, since I'm working on the tricorder, or is that we're more working towards the Thaleron's energy signature side of this?
Yeah, this is more about the energy signature you're dealing with.
Okay.
So are you spending the momentum, or?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
3 successes.
Back up to 4. It's a little fiddly. You're kind of running off some wild ideas, because this is not exactly your everyday circumstance, even in Starfleet. But you're pretty sure that you have realigned the tricorders so that they can go into the subspace band which the Nightingale was scanning. That should make it a lot easier to locate the device.
Excellent. And since now I've figured out how to read the rolls on Roll20, I just want to say that the non-success was so close to being a complication.
Yes, it was. Fun times.
Thank you, Captain. If you'll excuse me, I and my associates have a weapon to disarm. I'll let you know when it is clear, and you'll know if it's not.
I will stand close by just in case.
I appreciate the gesture. And with that, she's going to take her two friends, and they're going to go search the conference room again. I feel like we've been doing this a lot lately.
Yes, well. All right.
Vigilance is the price of peace. Even in
This is in fact true. All right. So this is going to be inside security. You
Okay.
still have your security team providing backup, which means that the difficulty has gone down to 2 from where it would have been.
Okay. Does anyone mind if I use a momentum?
go right on ahead.
Okay. And does team dynamics apply to this check?
I think no in this case.
Okay. Whew.
Barely. All right. So your little team can immediately tell the difference when you get in and start scanning the room. There is a telltale signature, which takes you a few minutes to track down, but finally you locate it. And that's when you find out why it's been so very hard to actually spot and track this thing down. Because it's not even hidden that well, exactly. It's right in the center of the conference table.
It's disguised as like a center point of the table.
It's not even that. It's invisible.
Cloaked?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No wonder.
In fact, you might never have actually located it if there weren't the power signature of the weapon itself. Now, once you've located it, and managed to find a suitable way to make it visible again,
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the job of disarming it.
Oh, this thing is covered in anti-tamper devices. I can smell it.
Yeah.
So, would you like a... Let's go with a daring security check. Daring security, or... Hold on, let me think for a moment.
Would you need the expertise of an engineer to help disarm it?
Actually, yeah. Nas is going to set up an open link. And ask our resident top engineer.
Yeah. Okay. No, this would not, in fact, be in security. This would be an engineering check. That's the right call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll definitely call him Ventot in here.
Oh, wonderful.
This is going to be daring engineering. And you better believe
Am I
difficulty is
explaining
high.
it to him, or am I actually going down there?
Well,
I would personally suggest personally doing it yourself, because it's kind of hard to talk someone into disarming a Thaleron device.
yeah, the difficulty would go up if you were not present.
I'm just worried with how my roll's been going.
Well, that's what determination and momentum are for.
Okay. Can you give me guys a quick second? I did have I'm expecting that guy to show up literally in probably 2 or 3 minutes to come work on my lawn. I don't want to.
Okay.
Can you maybe push them on until I'm back from that?
How about we take a quick break, actually? We're a little early, but...
That sounds like a plan. Sorry, it came up right when he's going to probably show up. I don't want to be in the middle of that and then suddenly have to stop.
No problem.
Thanks.
Have that break, then.
I go on break then.
Righty.
Lovely. Alrighty. Lieutenant Commander Ventot. I believe you're about to beam over and do some
Bomb squad work.
Yep.
Delicate work.
Who's excited? You've been doing this, I'm doing a bunch of this actually lately, after disarming that quantum torpedo back in episode 1.
Well, my rolls haven't been so good since then. That's why I'm kind of scared. So, I am burning determination.
Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way. That torpedo helped you get some disarming experience.
Yes, it did.
The reason why I'm being very, very cautious is because I know if I screw up, I'm dead.
Not just you.
What value are you going to use?
What value?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of. Which one should I use? Understanding machines better than people?
Sure.
That would be perfect.
Alrighty.
Oh, maybe actually, I wonder if I should use to be exceptional.
I mean, both of them fit, and it won't remove your ability to use them again.
Honestly, all of them fit.
Well, but
like, to be exceptional, precise to a fault, the needs of the many, understanding machines better than people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
we'll go with to be exceptional.
Difficulty for this is going to be 3. And burning determination gets you an automatic crit up front. So you already have 2 successes.
Okay.
You just need 1 more.
Alrighty, so before you roll, I'm just going to do a thing. Pharrell moves to the command chair and sits in it with anticipation, but not too much anticipation given the crisis of the situation.
Okay. I'll throw this in too. Vintop, of course, beams down with a toolkit and goes, "Where is it?"
Just Na's in the conference room at the moment, and she turns to the table and points.
Okie dokie.
The complication range is going to be 3.
Okay. So I still do a task roll 1.
A task roll of 2, unless
2.
you're getting momentum.
I would definitely spend a momentum.
So
I'm
3.
good with that.
I don't want to die, so I'm going to... okay. So 3 task roll. Some burning determination. Do I need to hit focus used? And I don't think my focuses apply here, so...
I mean, it's a little lateral, but I would allow sabotage. Like, if this was a traditional warhead, then probably not, but Thaler-1 weapons are a little different.
Just a little.
So knowledge is... I guess that's a good point, because knowledge of sabotage knows how you can spot it. I'll go ahead and throw that focus in.
Alrighty, so complication 3, task roll 3, focus on.
And daring and engineering?
Yep.
Please, God, I do not want to die.
With all the precautions you just took.
You barely got it.
Do you want to eat that complication for threat?
I think so, unfortunately.
Probably for the best.
Puts me up to 12 threat. I'm going to have a lot to play with later on.
I expect this particular diplomatic meeting is going to get very exciting.
Well, I mean, one of the things I can do with threat is change the circumstance dramatically. Basically, spend threats to do something wild with it. Which I've been pretty conservative with threats so far, but partially because I ended up spending so much in that space battle early on, and I starved for it later on, but that's a different thing. So, you get in there. The device isn't actually visible per se, it's just sort of highlighted, so you can see where it is. Which means that you can work your way. You know exactly where it is, and you have your ratings to work out what you're manipulating. But actually seeing what you're doing is tricky. But very carefully, you manage to access some of the outer components and take off the cloaking device. Good, you can see what you're doing now. Lovely. You can... Okay, so if you just adjust this circuit here, then why is it opening? And your life flashes before your eyes as the center of the device irises out and it starts to warm up. You know you have seconds to turn this thing off. And so many people would panic right here. But not you.
I breathe in deeply and go, I can do this. I can do this.
Precision is your thing.
Keep him precise. Let's do it.
You know
Just don't
exactly what you need to do. The circuit's right there before you.
Just
Just take your tool, trigger the right circuit, and just as a green glow is beginning to form, the device snaps shut again. It is
Just
now...
don't focus on the swirling green helix.
That was pretty close. But it is now offline. Now, the attached cloaking device was in fact a separate addition. It is not part of the device itself.
Huh.
And nor is the little receiver wired into it, which is presumably how it was going to be triggered.
Huh.
Vintar sits back and goes, breathes hard again and goes, okay. Some of these components are definitely additions to this device. The receiver and the cloaking device were added on. They weren't built in. Do we have any idea of who tried to put this in here?
If it were disguised as a specific object, I'm sure we could ask. But since it's cloaked, it could probably have been anyone who happened to have access to this room. Which I figure is probably a large number of people.
Nightingale to Commander Bazan.
This is Basan.
We detected a slight activation in the conference room. Is everything alright down there?
The device has been neutralized.
Good, you guys had me worried there for a second.
You and me both.
It's probably safe to say I probably wasn't as worried as you, Commander Ventot.
Well, I'm going to say this. If you guys will excuse me, I'm going to ask humans to say, I need to go change my pants.
So, you have a disarmed Thaleron bomb. What are you going to do with it? Is the question.
Does
Well-
Vintot stay down there, or is he being back up to the ship?
Well,
We were gonna
Hassan
have,
isn't.
we were gonna have you stay down there and set up some transporter inhibitors.
There's a couple of more mundane chores that Hassan has in mind. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
First up is now that the Thalaron weapon is disarmed, jury rig a way to set up the transceiver so that it still thinks it's attached and will accept signals. But instead of triggering the Thalaron weapon, it'll just send a repeat of that signal to the Nightingale, which should then hopefully be able to track it backwards.
I'm
Along with, Commander Farrell being notified of, oh hey, someone just tried to turn on the Thalaron bomb.
I can see what I can do. Obviously, this is telling me we want to make sure the cloaking device stays active as well.
Yeah, probably. At this point, we could probably safely remove the Thalaron device and just put it in like a security case or something for evidence, and take that back somewhere else to get analyzed.
All right. Well, after
Sorry, go ahead.
after that excitement, everything else is pretty damn mundane.
Okay. Well, Vintot bends over. I'm assuming I'm going to have a role here, but bends over and starts working on the device with his tools.
I'm not actually going to make you roll for it. I'm just pushing us forward a little bit because the important part of this scene is done.
Yeah.
So scene change, we're draining down to 1 momentum. So yes, before long, you have your transport inhibitor field set up. The jury-rigged receiver is in place. The Thalaron device has been quietly removed from the station. And
Just
put
a
into
thought that this is something made for narrative purposes. Could I place maybe a small hollow emitter in there so it still mimics like it's about ready to start? Then we see who reacts. Just an idea.
That's a clever idea, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I will allow that. And it's so cool, I won't even make you roll for it.
Rule of cool. Rule of cool.
Exactly. Thalaron device has been removed from the station and placed into a secure stasis locker on the Nightingale. Because we really don't want that going missing.
No.
Under watchful eyes of our doctor.
Yeah, and
Yes, who's no doubt absolutely thrilled at having a weapon of mass destruction being kept in his sickbay.
like, you're putting what in my sick bay? What does this look like, an armory?
Yes, well.
And Pharrell has stationed some security around it as well.
At this point, it is time for the conference to start.
Transport inhibitor field. Did we get that up? Yes.
Yep, that's in place.
Okay, cool. Okay. With all of those chores done, the last precaution Nas wants to take is wherever all of the delegates have been set up to be seated or seat themselves. Nas isn't going to fiddle with the placement. But she does want to insert one officer in between each group, just as This is a safety barrier for both sides.
One security officer.
In between each of the delegate parties, yes.
Okay. So that's 6 different groups. So 7 officers. Yep. 7?
Yeah.
No,
I
6.
and I also assume you want to have like your officers escort them from their VIP quarters to the conference room.
I'll let them handle that particular aspect of security, but once they get to the once they start getting to the conference room and the lounge outside, there's going to be, I wouldn't say an insulting Starfleet presence, but there is definitely a large Starfleet presence. We take things seriously.
I would say that makes sense, given that the factions have agreed to allow Starfleet to handle security.
That they have. Talia, you've been watching your officers run around while you're busy trading diplomatic niceties with a few aides and such like. So that's
Right.
exciting.
It is. So many new people.
But they appear to have calmed down a little bit. Your engineer emerged at one point looking very ashen-faced, but clearly also highly relieved. And now it appears to be time to go on in. You haven't really had a chance to speak privately with your chief of security, but since you're being allowed in, it's probably a fair bet that the Thalaron device has been dealt with.
As such, she breathes a sigh of relief.
All right. Do you want to go in first, since you're already here, or do you want to wait for other people?
Well, we wouldn't want the delegates to have to wait on me, so...
Alrighty. Well, you get settled in. Naz, where are you going?
Nuz will be in the security chamber as well, or the conference chamber.
Okay.
By the door.
Well, the setup does seem to be for each of the delegates to have one aide of some kind. So there's space for you next to the captain.
Fair enough.
Soon enough, the other folks are coming in. First up, there's first to arrive is Valorian, who nods to you politely and settles into a space immediately to your right. After that is Nadaris, who sits opposite you. Ratara, the Akanarian representative, who, you know, as he sits down, the little marker by him definitely lights up as Ratarax. So yes, that is in fact the other Praetor. They're all here.
All 3 Praetors.
Yep. Taris arrives a little soon after. Taris arrives soon after that, in the company of someone that you haven't seen before, Captain. A younger Romulan officer who appears to be wearing the uniform of the Blackthorn League.
Oh boy.
apparently they've been talking. But they part ways. Taris takes her seat on your left side, and the Blackthorn officer also settles in. As the mediator of this conference, it's up to you to open things.
3 praetors, a warlord, and a pirate.
Look on the bright side. It could be Cecina herself there.
True.
Having a sadistic betazoid sitting in on a peace conference with a bunch of Romulans sounds like a great time.
Oh, he should think of that.
Yes, well.
So everyone's seated or at least relaxed enough to start the conference.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's seated.
Is Vintot still on the station, or is he back on board that Nightingale?
So far as Nas is concerned, once you've finished up the engineering tasks that she had for you, if you want to go back to the ship, she can arrange transport. If you want to stay, there's the lounge.
I would say I would stay because I kind of want to watch the show. See the fruits of my work.
Alrighty, I'll keep the command chair warm.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you all for joining this conference. All of you just meeting here is, I believe, a great step forward into bringing the Romulan people back together once again. It is my hope that we can come to a resolution that will benefit the Romulan populace as a whole. And we all understand that compromises will have to be made, but such is the point of diplomacy. Now, to get started, I have not been introduced to our newest representative, who I am taking to represent Blackthorn.
She nods curtly to you. I am Commander Tiara Jarok. And as you say, I am here representing the interests of the Blackthorn League.
Welcome, Commander. As I have discussed with many of you, and y'all are wondering, the Federation's interests are second. I am here not in the interest of necessarily the Federation's wants and desires met, but truly to see the Romulan people come together. Now, I shall open the floor for comments and what each hopes to get out of today.
There is a brief pause as everyone assesses each other for a moment. Incidentally, for those who are not familiar with Star Trek Online, the shocked pause after she introduced herself is because Kiara Jarrok is actually a character from Star Trek Online. So I think it's pretty safe to say that she's not just a throwaway here. Fun facts. Anyway, after that brief, polite pause, everyone almost immediately descends into bickering. It's very clear that the three Praetors in particular absolutely despise each other. Valorian and Nadaris in particular, just if looks could disintegrate. Taris and Jarok are mostly staying quiet, though, just kind of watching the back and forth and seeming mildly contemptuous of it, really.
I was going to say, there's a look here, and the look is unsurprised disappointment.
Yes, well. It seems like it's very quickly gone off topic into just petty disagreements of the three-star empires. Territory stolen, ships destroyed, border skirmishes, materials misplaced, broken agreements, you name it, someone's done it, someone else is angry about it. It's not exactly hard to see why the Federation had such a hard time getting them to this point, and it's pretty clear that they'd never have got here by themselves. Just because none of them are really prepared to turn to open war doesn't mean that they actually like each other in any way, shape, or form.
I thought this was a conference that they did, not the Federation.
The Federation pushed for it. And the rise of Blackthorn was enough of a tipping point to get them to agree to it, which makes the fact that apparently a majority agreed to let Blackthorn in all the more interesting.
I'm still kind of leaning towards some kind of back alley deal here.
It's entirely possible.
And the flip side is never handled at the table.
Mm-hmm. The other side of it is that these are very important people. You don't actually know how much authority Jarok has within the Blackthorn League, because the only figure of leadership which is known about for sure is Cecina. But the other four are definitely leaders of their factions, and if they all came here, then clearly they hope to get something out of it. So hopefully this is just getting the nonsense out of their system up front. And apparently, after about half an hour of arguing,
I don't think I would have let it. I would have tried to intervene at that point. Like, please.
All right. After 10 minutes, let's go with that. And your exhortations for everyone to grow up and calm down a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make you roll for that.
Yay! I do things.
Yes, you do. You're good at things. Okay.
Diplomacy applies?
Yes, it does. Um, dee, 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 dee.
We
I
only
think,
have one of
yeah,
it.
this is going to be presence command, which is, I think, your most rolled stat combination.
Well, yeah, I do tend to do a lot of these types of things.
Mm-hmm.
No one's trying to hurt each other.
So this will be let's call it a difficulty of, go with the difficulty of 1.
Shouldn't be too hard.
Don't jinx yourself.
Okay. So yeah, you appeal for calm, and the table quietens down a little bit. And then Nadaris opens his mouth and clearly isn't done fighting, but he's decided to fight about a relevant issue. Question that I have for this conference is, why is that, pointing at Jarok, here? This was supposed to be a deal to remove the parasitic vermin from our territory, and yet I find that a blood traitor in possession of an advanced warship has found her way into this conference. I know that I certainly did not did not agree to this. So the question is, which of you did? There is a brief and unpleasant silence. And then Jarok quietly gets to her feet. While you have been busy getting your ears in a twist about trivia, Blackthorn has actually been attempting to unite all of the people that you have forgotten about. The Federation might have arrived to start providing relief and support to these people, but we were here first. Why do you think that people like me have actually decided to join this pirate group, as you're all so insistent upon calling it? Blackthorn has shown more compassion and more open-mindedness towards the future than any of you. I resent the accusations. I resent the mere existence of this conference as a attempt to create a unified front to destroy an organization which, yes, we have had. Yes, we are not innocent. Yes, we have fought. We have fought for money. We have taken things which are not ours. But we're hardly alone in that. And at least we are trying to help people as opposed to add feathers to our crowns. I would take a good hard look in the mirror, Praetor. The word just drips with contempt before you start accusing us of being blood traitors. She calmly sits, and there is silence at the table for a time. That's not exactly the angle which anyone really expected Blackthorn to be taking. Then Taris just quietly applauds. You're quite the public speaker. For a mercenary. That doesn't really solve the problem, does it? The fact remains that Blackthorn is in opposition to all of us. And there have been multiple skirmishes. If your intentions are really so peaceful and generous, then I think you'd want to de-escalate the violence. At that point, the discussion becomes a little bit more grounded. And Nadaris might have paused at being the subject of such a verbal beatdown, but he's clearly still seething. And he abruptly gets to his feet. If you will excuse me.
Uh-oh.
He and his aide stalk out of the room. Jarok just sort of smirks. How old is he again? Which prompts a subdued chuckle from the rest of the room. And then a plume of green light appears, rising from the middle of the table.
I would like to act surprised.
Nas does not. She's too busy watching other people. Although I think we might have our answer for who the Thalaron weapon belongs to now.
Pharrell, sits on the Nightingale Bridge, addressing the science officer at the science station to track the activation.
Yep. Gotta get a science reason. You'll do first. Science reason. And the ship's gonna be computer science. Sensor science, rather. Difficulty 0.
Alrighty.
Does Ventot see them leave the conference room?
Yes, you do. You see Nadaris appear to adjust his coat as he stalks past.
Here's another thing that came to my head. I don't know if we want to throw this in the narrative or not. That maybe while they were in conference, I don't know if maybe it's something we already had, but transporter inhibitors in each one of their rooms.
I think that would be overreach.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they'd let us get that far in.
Alrighty. You said reason science?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh.
Nice. And the Nightingale?
Sensor science?
Yep.
Okay.
There it goes.
Okay, brings you up to full momentum. The activation code came from aboard the starbase. Usual rules. More info costs you momentum.
Alrighty. Can I localize it to see if I could track it to any individual on the station?
Getting that kind of precision is awkward, but you can definitely get a general area.
Okay. So I'm going to localize it then.
Okay.
And another quick one,
yes.
sorry. Can I say that Vintot's trying to discreetly follow the Praetor that walked out?
You can. We'll come to you in a moment.
Okay.
Yes, the signal came from the reception area outside the conference room.
Alrighty, do I relay that to Nas, or am I waiting to relay that?
Pause on that. We've got other dice rolls to do.
Okay.
All right, Nas, I'm going to require a insight security check from you.
Okay.
Insight security, or yes, insight security. Gonna go with a difficulty of 1.
Okey-doke. Oh,
Ooh.
Nice. Brings you up to 4 momentum.
yay.
So,
I have
basically-
security teams out in the lobby.
sorry?
I do have security people out in the lobby.
Yes, indeed. Well, the entire conference room panics. Needless to say, because
Try speaking, Eric. There we go. I heard a microphone there.
Alright.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's pretty clear that none of them were expecting a Theta device, needless to say.
Including Jirok.
Indeed.
All right.
Well,
Did Deccan's roll bring our momentum up any?
yeah, you're up to
Up to 4, yeah? Yeah.
Alrighty.
There just seems to be something slightly odd. Like, they definitely weren't expecting this, but for each of them, it's not just the panic of, oh god, I'm about to die. There's something else as well. Which could just be these are all Romulans, they're expecting something to happen, they just weren't expecting this, or it could not. Working out more will cost you momentum.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to spend momentum for that one.
I'm good for that.
Alrighty. Who do you want to focus on? I'll allow you to focus on 2 people per momentum spent here.
Yep. Before it got.
I would like to focus on Jirok and Taurus
Alrighty.
for the first momentum spent anyway.
Taris looks betrayed. Like, she genuinely wasn't expecting this to happen. She clearly has her suspicions about who did it, and she looks kind of pissed about it in a I am going to fucking haunt someone sort of way. Jarok just looks horrified. She was expecting something.
But not this.
She just wasn't expecting this and wasn't expecting to be in the room for it. The expression of someone who it's like in old movies the expression which someone gets when they're told that they've outlived their usefulness.
Fair enough.
You want info on the other two?
What do you yeah, we've still got some momentum, so yeah, I will spend another momentum to take a look at the other two, or the two praetors, I suppose, remaining.
Okay. Valorian is just flat out shocked. Like he's genuinely confused that someone would want to kill him.
Oh, poor sweet summer child.
And Retarix just looks angry. And
Remind me, Retarix is the former Tal Shiar.
Because they're on
that's correct.
Damn.
the secret.
So there's a range of reactions here.
All of them justified.
And as the light fades and no one dies, and everyone realizes that Starfleet officers aren't moving, they just all sort of turn to you with a "what the hell" expression.
Okay, so you know how Gorn faces aren't really all that expressive?
Yes.
Nas
Like, not
smiles.
Honestly, with a Gorn smile, I'm just imagining like Kimari from Final Fantasy X smiling.
I have not actually played Final Fantasy X.
Well, Kimari's basically a Cadian with a horn on its head, so imagine that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I personally figured that there's a lot of teeth involved.
Go figure.
Retarix is the first one to break the silence. What is the meaning of this, Captain?
As earlier in the day, my ship's scanners detected a trace of Thalaron radiation on board the station. That was the key moment of us trying to get our own security forces on board. At the time, we did not realize how devastating a Thalaron device would be to the Romulan people at this point, but we still felt that it would be in everyone's best interest that we located the device before explaining its presence. Apparently, my officers also felt it best to have it once they disabled the device and come on, it is removed, isn't it?
That is correct, Captain.
And having removed the device, set up a fake one to maybe mit out the attempted assailant.
Very cunning. The sort of ploy that I might have used once.
Shall I report in to my findings?
Go for it.
Right. Nightingale to Captain, to Zonin.
Go ahead, Nightingale. Do you have the location?
Aye, Captain. We've managed to trace the activation from the reception area.
I was kind of heaved a sigh. I was afraid of that.
This is really neat to be.
Outside, our intrepid chief of operations, along with a couple of security officers, are attempting to shadow Nadaris. Right. I'm going to need a control security check from you.
Okay, what's the difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be... Trying to shadow someone aboard this station. That's going to be a difficulty of 3.
I'm good if you want to spend momentum, man.
How much do we have?
2.
Combat
2.
2. So I can only, cause I know I can only get one more dice roll because the second one would take two momentum, right?
Yep.
Correct, unless you spend threat.
Okay.
Or do you want to spend threat instead of momentum?
I will go with momentum. Just
Okay.
1. So it puts me at 3 dice. Focus
Yep.
used, no. Okay, complication ranges, there's no change in that, right?
Complication is 1.
Okay. Trying to see if there's anything else I can throw in here that's going to be helpful. I'm an engineer, not a security officer. Why am I doing this?
I don't know.
Because you're a Starfleet officer as well.
Let's see. Well, okay, so I'm doing 3 dice. I'm going to roll. Everything sound right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I got 2, and the other thing
Alright.
was 3.
Well, you follow Nadaris out of the reception area, down several corridors. But he realizes that he's being followed pretty quickly. He doesn't immediately respond. He just keeps moving. His guards tightening formation a little bit. Until they've got a little way away from the conference room, and then they beam out.
Well, there's that minutes of guilt right there. They're leaving.
So it would appear. Back in the conference room, everyone just sort of exchanges looks. For what it's worth, I can confirm that this was not a Blackthorn operation. Jarek says rather dryly, "We don't have any agents in the reception area, and we don't use Thaleron weapons." No, I think it's fairly clear who was responsible for this. There is a brief pause before Vinto, actually, are you reporting in to reporting into the captain and such?
I can. Vindart, the captain.
Go ahead.
We were discreetly following the praetor who left the conference room, and unfortunately, I think he caught on to us, and they beamed out.
Well, that does not bode well for alleviating suspicions over him, does it?
I would assume that he realized we were on to him.
Well,
Commander Basan to the Nightingale.
Nightingale here. Go ahead, Bazan.
Move to yellow alert status and watch our Abraxan friends very carefully.
Acknowledged. Going to yellow alert now. Farrell orders the acting tactical officer to keep an eye on the Abraxan delegation force.
Alrighty. Back in the conference room, Taris gets to her feet. I think that under the circumstances, a recess is in order. Just in case our mutual friend decides to attempt to finish the job with photon torpedoes.
I also agree with this assessment.
Well,
very well.
the conference room and just empties swiftly, and everyone is beaming back to their ships. Because if you recall, the station doesn't have shields, so this is a bad place to be.
Yeah.
There are also a lot of ships going to yellow alert, and it looks entirely possible that a firefight is about to erupt. But the Abraxan fleet clearly sees the writing on the wall, and it looks like they were probably preparing to leave anyway. Think about it. If that attempt has succeeded, well, it probably would have resulted in a massive space battle anyway. So
yeah,
might as well leave rather than get tangled up in a unfavorable circumstance. So they cloak and they depart at speed.
Nightingale to Captain Tizonin.
Go ahead.
The Abraxan ships have cloaked on a course away from the station.
Very well, thanks for notifying us.
Nightingale out.
Well then, Commander. It appears we are at an impasse.
Chasing them would be difficult. I suppose the conference could continue without them. Shame. After we went through all the trouble to preserve his life, he goes and puts a Thaleron bomb in the conference room. I'm very disappointed.
You're not angry, you're just disappointed.
And I'm pretty sure that's how the rest of them feel.
Like
I don't know, Valorian, but some of
describing Valorian, I think it never occurred to him that someone might want to actually try and kill him over all this. Until now.
Kind of makes you wish we allowed Nadaris to die anyway.
I don't think I can wish for that.
Huh? Farrell,
Yes.
the tactical officer suddenly speaks up. Sir, we're receiving a transmission on a covert line.
Patch it through on audio.
The voice that comes through is heavily distorted and clearly synthesized. Whoever speaking does not want to be identified. Starfleet, congratulations. You have successfully foiled 2 assassination attempts, but there is a third. And this one, you may, and I cannot risk you being unprepared for this one. This conference must succeed.
This is Lieutenant Commander Pharrell Rannis of the Nightingale. Who am I speaking with?
That's not important. What is important is that you must find, or is that you must do what Starfleet is famous for: devise a solution to an impossible problem, and you don't have much time to do it.
Acknowledged. We will look into this.
The assassination attempt is going to be using a trans-dimensional warhead. You must find a way to block it, or prevent or prevent it from being used in some other way. Otherwise, every leader here could still be destroyed, could still be killed.
Acknowledged.
Romulus must survive.
Are they gonna... Oh, go ahead.
The transmission cuts.
Well, this just keeps getting interesting. Nightingale to Captain Jazonin.
Go ahead.
We have received a rather cryptic transmission. Apparently, there's going to be a third assassination attempt.
Where did we receive this information?
Did you say when?
Where?
That one when? We could not track it. It was heavily encrypted. Even the voice itself was synthesized. But
Because we have a hidden friend.
what we have learned is that there's going to be a third assassination attempt, and apparently they're going to be using a trans-dimensional torpedo.
Okay. Huh. Well then. We need to find this. We must then find this torpedo. Figure out what you can to have our sensors configured to locate that type of weapon. And let me know when we can start scanning.
Aye, Captain. Nightingale out. Forel instructs the acting science officer to do so.
You sure you wouldn't want to do that?
Well, I would help him as well.
We will come to that shortly.
Dun dun dun.
For now,
Did the cryptic voice say where this assassination attempt would be, or is it going to still be on the station?
Very likely still on the station.
Okay.
A moment later, actually, on the same frequency, you receive. It's not a set of specifications exactly. You couldn't build something using this, but it does give you an idea of capabilities.
Of the transdimensional torpedo.
That's correct. And let's see. I'll need an insight engineering check from you of difficulty 2.
Me?
Yep, and I will allow your quantum physics specialization.
Alrighty. Assume the complication range is still set at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Okay.
Alrighty. Yeah. Something about these specs strikes you as familiar. Roll another dice.
Alrighty. Same thing. Engineering insight.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, yeah, no, that's just one success. Overall. Just a bit unlucky. You feel...
Is it set 2 momentum now?
You're still on 1.
Okay.
Like I said, it was difficulty of 2, so...
right.
You didn't get enough to succeed.
Gotcha.
There's something about this design which strikes you as familiar, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. What you do know is that it appears to be some form of... It appears to use some form of quantum warhead, but the delivery system is like nothing you've seen before. It's just, there's something about... Although the technology might be different, if there's something familiar here.
Pharrell studies the data.
Should he find some way to send me the specs too, or?
Yeah, he'll send it to you in a moment. Pharrell studies the data with intense.
If we're going where I think we're going, he had a little in-depth look at that thing.
Yeah. He studies the data with an intense quizzical expression. Damn. Nightingale to Commander Ventot.
Ventot here.
I'm transmitting some data that was just sent to us by our anonymous friend.
I'm going to stop you there briefly and ask you a very important question.
All right.
Your communications with the captain, sending stuff to Ventot. Is all of this encrypted?
It can be. No, that's just...
The correct answer to that question is yes.
Standard procedure. Anything like that is encrypted.
Let's just...
I'm just checking.
Yeah. Just say that it happened by default.
Alrighty, carry on.
I'm guessing I'm going to do a roll.
Yep. Same stats.
Which were?
Insight engineering, difficulty of 2.
Difficulty of 2.
Commander, I'm sending you data that we received from our anonymous benefactor, about a rather unique, unusual warhead. There's something familiar about it. I just cannot place my finger on it, as humans say.
None of my focuses apply, do they?
Nope.
Oh, well, how many momentum do we have?
1.
1 momentum. Actually, tell you what, I'm going to adjust this so that you are rolling an assist. So you've already got the one. You've already got the 1 success.
Okay.
But you're only rolling the 1 dice.
Only 1 dice then.
Yeah.
Assist would make sense. Seems how I'm getting a second opinion on this data.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm wondering though if I should then ask for a momentum to get me back to 2.
I'm not sure you can do that with an assist.
Okay.
But for what it's worth, this is going to be success at a cost. So even if you fail, you'll still succeed.
Okay. Rolling.
Cool. All right. So you look over the technology here, and you realize that yes, you have seen this before. This was remarkably similar to the prototype torpedo which you got tangled up in, with one significant difference. That torpedo, which you went through all of those problems with, which took out a bird of prey, all those diplomatic crises, that was a cobbled together prototype of different parts. This is what it's supposed to be. This is a finished product. But the weird thing is, you're pretty sure this isn't Romulan. This is not Romulan engineering, or if it is way past anything you've seen from them. Because the warhead itself is a pretty scary quantum singularity hybrid.
Oh, jeez.
Which, that could probably actually destroy the entire station if it hit the right point. But the delivery system, yeah. I mean, you've studied the specs on transphasic torpedoes, which Federation still hasn't managed to replicate, but they still keep a couple around to study. And this is not transphasic technology. This is something completely different. And something completely unfamiliar.
Ventot, do you have anything?
Let me speak with the captain first before I put this over, even on an encrypted channel.
Understood. We'll be on standby.
Am I near the captain?
Yeah.
Captain, I just got some information that we might want to talk about, maybe in private, between us officers.
Are we the only ones left in the area?
Everyone else has gone back to the ships.
Okay. We apparently our mysterious benefactor, I'm going to call him, sent us some specifications. This looks incredibly like the weapon we gave, with a lot of differences, but the core mechanics is very similar to the weapon we gave back to the Akamarians, or Akanarians.
Why do I have the feeling that each of these groups is making an attempt?
Except maybe Rator and maybe Taurus. I don't know, it depends on who supplied the partisans.
However, I want to also throw in here that there's a lot of stuff here I don't recognize. And it's not even Romulan. I know that much from working with Romulan ships in my past. So this has got a whole new mystery to it.
As
Because this is much more powerful than any trans-phasic weapon I've ever seen. It's more powerful than that. It could destroy this station easily.
then I think we should probably do as our hosts have done and not be on the station as we try to figure out. But wait, scratch that. We still have the station's crew to think about. We must find these devices. That is our first priority now.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Shall we?
So, suggestions from you. You're our technology expert.
Do we have enough information from what was sent to us, Lazu, to be able to scan for it if it's a bomb on the station or if it's a torpedo in a bay of one of the ships?
It's almost certainly. I mean, the thing is designed to basically. Okay, episode rough. Although it would help if I actually remember the name of the episode. Memory alpha is a wonderful thing. Right, episode The High Ground. Terrorist organization developed a form of trans-dimensional transporter, which allowed them to blitz across the planet, basically without being detected, without it being possible to detect them or intercept them. The crew of the Enterprise eventually work out how to track the trans-dimensional shifts, but this torpedo works on a similar kind of principle from what you can tell. Just having it as a bomb on station would make no sense unless they just dropped the warhead in there.
Wait, so the warhead is a dimensional shifting thing?
It appears to be a torpedo which is designed to just flicker out of existence, probably to bypass shields and any other defenses, appear at the most vulnerable point, reintegrate, and then detonate.
And there's another example I can give you that's very similar to that. The Krenim Chronoton torpedoes. They would phase out of time, phase back in so they can go past shields.
Krenim Chronoton torpedoes are a different approach to the same problem.
Yeah.
That's what I was going at. It's the same tactic.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Krenim torpedoes didn't have this kind of warhead on them.
Exactly. I was just using that as an example where it phases in and out.
In fact, you kind of wonder why something quite this devastating was designed. Like, this is overkill for many purposes.
Well, Captain, at the very least, we know that it's not a device on the station. It's one of those ships out there apparently has this sitting in its torpedo bay. And I have to go back. I think we have to go back to the ship to find out who has it. Using the ship's sensor arrays.
And failing that, work out how to block it.
Blocking would be an interesting problem. Crash developing a defense against transphasic warheads?
This is what Starfleet's good at.
I mean,
Seat of the
we-
pants size.
yeah. Great, seat of the pants technology.
I did love the interactions between those two.
Yes. I mean, it's not unreasonable to assume that Starfleet has developed the point defense phaser system to help intercept torpedo warheads like that.
Sure, the trick is making sure that it's can actually be intercepted.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Hmm.
But in the meantime, this was meant to be just a recess. So in theory, the conference is going to start again soon.
True.
So while your science team is trying to work out what the hell to do about this new threat, you have to work out what you're going to do with the delegates.
If I were to make an out of character suggestion, maybe make the idea of moving it to the Nightingale.
That might be a reasonable thing. I mean, given that there were just 2 assassination attempts on the station.
Just an
I know
idea
it
we
makes
could
it a
pitch, at
target, but
least.
on the other hand, it
And at least-
has shields.
And at least we'd have shields.
The other thing is that the person who would be most likely to object to that is absent.
Gone.
So they kind of decided they didn't want to be around us anymore for whatever reason. Can't imagine why. Very rude of them.
Yeah.
Super.
After all that we did for them.
I'm still not convinced that he's the one that put the thing up, but we'll see.
He is the one that
Left.
ended up triggering. We're fairly certain he triggered it.
Ah.
But
I
yeah.
mean, the activation did come from the reception area.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean,
was it just
I mean,
Federation
unless
officers and him?
unless there was another person with a personal cloaking device that we were not aware of.
Well, then. I was assuming that the reception area had a whole bunch more people in it still.
Oh yeah, there were a few there.
Huh.
Much
So-
fewer now, of course.
So then I'm gonna get back onto the ship, and then from there, since all the other delegates are on their vessels, suggest that we move it to the Nightingale's conference room.
Alrighty. Well, you set up a conference call easily enough. One by one, they all respond. Yes, Captain.
Given recent happenings, I figured I would, instead of having such high-profile individuals on a stall base without shieldings, we move the conference to the conference room here on board the Nightingale. If anyone has objections to this, please make it known. We are fully prepared to have full diplomatic receptions and accommodations on board.
There's silence for a time as they all chew this over. But the question is, how convinced are they? I'm going to need a diplomacy roll.
Yay!
Doing what the captain does best.
Oh yeah.
Presence command. Focus
Yep.
applies.
Yeah, presence command. Let's go with the usual. Let's go with the difficulty of 1.
That should be fine. I shouldn't need to spend threat or momentums for this. It should be fine.
Should be.
Don't jinx yourself.
Have you learned nothing from me?
One success. Also, Ventot, would you please roll a challenge dice? Just 1. Wait, hold on. No, never mind. Sorry, I was misreading something. Okay.
Challenge dice 1, or not at all anymore?
Not anymore. It's like I said, I was misreading something. Anyway, they chew this over, but it's clear that this has been a pretty fraught conference so far, and having a failure on device, even just a mock hologram of one, blow up in front of them,
It's
has
nerve rattling.
it's put things in perspective. So one by one, they all nod and agree to transport over to the Nightingale as soon as they are set up. Valorian and Rotarax come over almost immediately. The other two explain that they have a few things to deal with, and they'll be over within the hour.
All right, so the diplomatic staff is hard at work setting up the conference room for these purposes.
And does Nightingale have like a specialized dining room for these type of things?
Yes, I have vague memories of such a thing.
I mean, dining rooms really haven't been used by Starfleet since Captain Kirk met with Chancellor Gorkon.
That's where I'm getting my thought from.
Yeah, mostly it's been reception rooms with little buffet things were the ones we saw mostly in Next Gen and the movies.
We can always just clear out the mess hall and say, hey, if you come in here, you better be in your dress whites.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Deep Space Nine did for when Lenara Khan came by, as well as other occasions.
Indeed.
So, conference room, or are we setting up the mess hall as a diplomatic mess lounge?
I figured either one's fine. Given the amount of people, probably the mess hall would be better, easier. Let them have their the amount of security they want to have and all that.
All right.
Pharrell just continues to look over the transdimensional data after yielding the bridge command to whomever is taking back over.
Yep, you and Ventot have your work cut out. And we'll be diving into that next time.
Yay!
Because I'm gathering that I'll probably be securing sections of the ship.
Probably a good idea. Although
You'll
you
have
already,
help with that, though.
yep. And you also got some transporter inhibitor fields around certain key areas. But
Well, it doesn't help when there's already Romulans on the ship.
well, yeah, but it's will be useful for preventing abductions and the like.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You are also probably allowed to raise your shields at this point, which is possibly not an awful idea.
We didn't throw you off, did we, by taking us off the station?
No, it was a good idea. It actually solves a minor problem which I was going to have later on.
What was that?
Spoilers.
He's not going to tell us.
Besides, you know what they say: no plan survives contact with the players.
Right as that.
So you are just getting ready to receive everyone. The Blackthorn delegation beams over last. Everything looks set to be going nicely, and then something interesting happens.
Oh boy. I don't
We
think
gotta
I
have
can
a
take any more.
cliffhanger.
I don't think I can have any more interesting developments.
Pharrell,
Oh boy.
one of your junior officers who's been helping you analyze the torpedo comes over to you. Sir, I've been running simulations on this thing, and there's something odd about it. Like, we don't have all of the specifications, so I can't say for sure, but there's a small difference in the warhead from the original design, which we found with the Takarans.
What kind of difference?
There's a specific component which seems to be a secondary detonator. It's, as far as I can tell, I don't believe that this weapon was designed just to destroy stations and starships.
Don't tell me it has a secondary effect to it too.
Well, I've been going over this, and I can't say for sure, but sir, I'm pretty sure that this has a trilithium detonator.
Pharrell just immediately goes wide-eyed. Trilithium.
I mean, there is precedent for the Romulans using trace amounts of trilithium in warheads, and at that level, it doesn't have any effect. But this size of trilithium detonator, combined with if you combine it with the effects of the quantum detonation and the dimensional singularity, well, I'm not certain, sir. I've run simulations, but this is so far beyond a lot of our science that I wouldn't stake my life on it. But sir, it's possible that a weapon like this could trigger a subspace supernova.
Oh, great. So it wouldn't just destroy the station. It wouldn't just destroy all the ships around the station. It would also devastate warp travel in the entire region. Yay!
It's not exactly about that. Subspace supernova is an event which has only been seen once.
Oh, you mean Hobus. Yay!
Yep.
Oh. And Pharrell goes even wider-eyed, and his face kind of flushes. Oh, son of a bitch, as humans say.
You can see why I brought this to you immediately, sir.
Thank you, crewman. This definitely changes everything.
And there we shall leave it.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy, indeed.
Yeah. I can see if we're all going, oh, Captain!
Oh, Captain.
Bridge to catches on him!
This might cause for a little bit more aggressive negotiations next week.
Lazu,
Okay.
say you might not be here next week.
Yes, next week it is quite possible that I will be busy elsewhere. I will be able to confirm yay or nay probably in a couple of days. I will let you know, but it's quite possible that episode 4 will be, part 4 rather, will be in 2 weeks' time.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So-
It gives us more time to dwell on our impending doom.
Yeah,
And we avoided the first impending doom, and we actually came out ahead with that one.
And the second one, too.
And the second one, too. So, we're
Thanks,
doing okay so far.
thanks to a great idea by Ventot.
Yeah, that was a really good idea.
So first impending doom, we had our amazing Gorn take care of things. Now we have second one. We had our amazing Benzite take care of things.
and in the meantime, you've got your Orandorian trying to hold everything together.
Clearly, it is time for the Trill to shine.
Again,
Holding it all together. I'm holding this together with bubblegum and spit.
And I still think,
whereas
I brought this up last week, but I still think maybe if things go well with this conference, we should say we'd offer to go help them put a memorial at Hobus. Or not Hobus, at Romulus.
That could be a good thing.
Hmm.
So, hopefully everyone has enjoyed this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of
oh
surprised
god,
at the scale these guys are going for.
yeah.
Like-
I mean,
The assault was a little overt, I was thinking. But, like, that's within normal Romulan political chicanery. The
I mean-
Tayloron weapon, again, still within the realm of things, but definitely seems like a step over. And now we've got this thing.
the transdimensional
Overkill device.
subspace supernova torpedo.
It's just like, these guys have no chill. No chill.
Of course,
God damn.
I will.
Of course, we got to also discuss about Jirok being part of Blackthorn.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
Obviously, we should probably put out a disclaimer here. We're not saying that even though we're using the STO character, we're not saying she was part of a mercenary organization in the Star Trek Online timeline. We're using it for our own purposes to bring in intrigue.
I mean, I have used the timeline of the Road to 2409 up until 2487, and at that point,
You mean
all bets
23?
are off.
You mean 2387?
2387, yes.
2487 is still a ways off yet.
A little bit.
So,
But
there
I
are a
do
few
also
things
see it
that-
as a feasible thing she might actually do. She cares
Mhm.
about her people.
I mean,
Yes,
yeah, it could be spun as a sooner youth.
But I just didn't when you kind of show her the video of Cecina brutally murdering one of her captains. I might change
Yeah.
the tune.
Because I have a feeling TRO does not know about that.
The other things to consider are, for all you know, this new assassination attempt with the supernova torpedo thing might not be by someone who's at the conference.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for bringing that other thought in our brain. I will at least probably can at least throw out that I don't think it's Blackthorn's idea. At least nothing knowingly.
I
by
mean, this
Gerard.
is like, yeah.
Because from what I'm saying, it's just from our knowledge from Star Trek Online, I don't think she would participate in destruction of something like that that was similar to destruction of her own planet.
Yeah.
No. I mean, she was also surprised a little bit at the Phaleron weapon, so...
Surprised. She was devastated.
I would love to take the delegates aside and interrogate them, although I don't think Naz's security clearance is that high. So I doubt
I don't think
that.
that. I think that would do more harm than good, anyway.
Well, there's interrogations, and then there are interrogations. You know, you can interrogate politely.
Or you could interrogate the Romulan way.
Exactly. See? Could be worse. I could interrogate them the Cardassian way, and that would go over real well.
Oh god, that's not interrogation. That's just full-on torture.
Yes, well, I do have a personal fondness for the Calciar mind reading chips.
I mean, just to go off from Star Trek Online, it could be Hakeev about this.
It could.
Wherever he is, yeah.
I mean, there's a big question here. If this, who on Earth made a weapon this scary and this far ahead of the curve? And if this is what caused Tobus, then who would do something like that?
Hakeev!
I'm going to take a page from Star Trek Online Reddit memes. All you see is a picture of the ancient aliens dude in his little high, whenever he's saying shit that he looks really high, he goes, Iconians.
Could be. And it could not be.
It's aliens.
There is more than meets the eye here. But,
Clearly, I mean, you just busted out Tiaro Jorak in the mercenary gang.
Mm-hmm. So, any questions before we close up?
Not at present.
Nope. I'm thinking I'm good. Only question is, are we ready for a victorious life?
Oh, I've been ready for this.
Yeah, it might actually even prompt me to log in again.
Yeah.
Oh, another question is, are we done streaming?
We haven't hit our tagline yet to cut off streaming, so.
Okay.
Whenever Loves does the taglines, when I turn off the stream. So if we're going to stop streaming to discuss more, she'll need to say it, or he'll need to say it.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So, hopefully everyone out there, I doubt you enjoyed the motorbike zooming past my window. Something on the main street up there. But yes, we shall be reconvening probably in 2 weeks' time. We will see. Because I may be absent next week. Keep an eye on announcements on Twitter and such. But otherwise, we have a super weapon to foil. So that's fun. And we can do all of that next time among the Embers.